This month has been particularly difficult for the Ukrainians. Russia has massed many soldiers to launch one major offensive. I'm talking about something between 40,000 and 100,000 men in a single offensive. The target is Pokrovsk, a city of 60,000 people many of you already know. It's a critical point right now because important roads and railways for the Ukrainians pass through it. And it's also the point that supplies the entire Ukrainian front line. If it falls, well, the defense collapses like dominoes. But it looks like it wasn't this time. Let me show you what happened. Do you see a German Leopard 2 tank advancing alone through the streets? It was there to carry out a mission, to neutralize a Russian sabotage and reconnaissance group that had occupied this building. There is information that they are hiding inside. Leopard then approaches the target, aims its 120mm gun at the first floor windows, and fires. Boom! Mission accomplished. The first floor of the building was devastated, along with all of the enemy's cover. But now, the most dangerous part begins: the withdrawal. The tank needs to leave the city quickly. Little did he know that a surprise was waiting for him at the exit. The Russians respond by opening mortar fire. Drones start chasing the tank. The first one hits the rear. The tank stops momentarily. But the problem seems solved. It starts moving again. And then, again, the drone hits the track directly. But as you can see, it doesn't get what it wanted. The Leopard manages to withdraw. Later, the commander shows the results of these attacks, only minor damage to the hull. This shows the superiority of Western tanks. It's not just the technology, it's the design philosophy. That's because in the Leopard 2, the ammunition is stored in an isolated compartment at the rear of the turret, separated from the crew by an armored wall. If the ammunition catches fire, panels on the top blow outward, releasing the pressure away from the crew. On the other hand, in Russian T-72 tanks, the ammunition is stored in a carousel at the bottom of the turret, directly beneath the crew. When penetrated, they explode catastrophically. I'll show you the difference in a few moments. The Leopard represents a crucial difference in the philosophy of war. They believe that a trained and experienced crew is worth more than the metal itself. For the Ukrainians, where every veteran soldier is precious, this is fundamental. Now let me show you what happened in Chassiv. This region is on high ground 247 meters above sea level, overlooking the key cities of Kramatorsk and Sloviansk. It's a natural fortress. Losing this city would give the Russians a vantage point that would put all Ukrainian logistical routes in the enemy's hands. What you're seeing is a huge column of 6 vehicles moving toward the city. Now pay close attention. Can you see it? There are many destroyed targets on the road. Even so, the Russians don't stop. They use the same tactic repeatedly. Massive armored columns advancing along predictable routes. But the Ukrainians are waiting for them, with their incredible layered defense system. These vehicles are armored personnel, 6 armored personnel carriers. Think of them as big armored trucks, made to take soldiers to the battlefield. They have less protection than a tank, but they're faster and carry an entire infantry squad inside. One of the armored personnel, 6 hits a mine and then loses control, sliding to the side of the road and letting the others pass. The purpose of the mine isn't to destroy all the vehicles. It's to stop the first one and turn a moving, threatening column into stationary, clustered targets. The javelins then enter the battle with a precise strike. Consider this. The javelin costs $175,000 per missile. It rises high and dives onto the target, striking from above, where the armor is weakest. The hit rate is impressive. Target, around 94%. It's no wonder it's reserved for high-value targets. The next armored personnel carrier then hits a mine and the column splits. One group disembarks the infantry in the industrial part of the city, another gets even closer. Things start to get dangerous. But the Ukrainian drones are already waiting. A precise strike destroys the first target. Chaos breaks out. Trying to retreat, a tank runs over a mine. An armored personnel carrier becomes the target of a drone. Direct hit. Another armored personnel carrier tries to complete its task. A drone chases and attacks it. Soon after, the target is finished off and left burning. But the attack isn't over. Several scattered targets try to land. Infantry. This other armored personnel carrier is being closely watched. The drones are over there waiting for the right moment. A mine for this target. The Ukrainians then monitor the situation closely. As soon as the smoke clears, the drones start dropping explosives. Several precise attacks leave the enemy with no chance. Now stop to think about the brutal math of this war. A first-person view drone costs about $500. A Russian tank is worth $2 million. A $500 drone destroys a $2 million tank. Ukraine can produce hundreds of drones for the cost of a single tank. The numbers are on Ukraine's side. The enemy armored personnel carrier is then stopped. An amazing job. Another armored personnel carrier moves forward. But what if several Ukrainian drones are chasing you? Well, the chances of success are almost zero. Powerful blasts hurl the turret meters into the air. Pay attention. Do you see the difference? The Leopard I showed earlier took 2 drone attacks and suffered minor damage. But what about this Russian tank? The turret flew through the air. One of the APCs managed to escape and disembark infantry in the building. Little did they know that this was a trap. First, a Ukrainian soldier uses a rocket-propelled grenade, a portable anti-tank rocket launcher, against the target trying to escape. A Ukrainian armed forces soldier readies another shot. The drones are the first to open fire on the building. Then the soldier with the rocket launcher joins the action. It's a long distance. He makes a precise shot. The building collapses. The enemy had no chance. The Russian APCs realize the obvious. They need to get out of there as soon as possible. The first one hits a mine. However, the others manage to reach the road. The artillery tries to stop them from leaving, but without success. A Ukrainian soldier saves the day. It's a precise strike with a javelin. And here's another one. The attack failed completely. Now, I know many of you might be wondering at this moment, why the hell do the Russians keep using the same tactics that don't work? And look, there are 2 reasons for that. First, they keep using the same old Soviet-era tactics, attacking with lots of tanks and vehicles at the same time. Second, it's a strategy based on quantity. The Russians are betting that they have more equipment and more soldiers to lose than Ukraine has forces to resist. In other words, their vehicles and crews are treated as expendable pieces in a war of attrition. And here is the next attempt to attack the city. A reconnaissance drone detected 2 APCs and 17 infantry soldiers. They are preparing for the attack. The soldiers split into 3 groups. They spread out in different directions. Ukrainian artillery opens fire. Panic sets in. The infantry scatters into different shelters. Ukraine. An armored personnel carrier tries to leave the area. The artillery keeps falling, this time directly on enemy positions. Along with regular grenades, cluster munitions are also used. One of the groups is caught by an armored personnel carrier. The coordinates are passed to the artillery. Boom. Shrapnel spreads in all directions. Several more attacks, the operation failed. The enemy couldn't achieve their objective. Meanwhile, nearby, a drone detects Russian movement. They're moving through these pipelines thinking they're safe there. This is their shelter. But Ukrainian drones appear in the sky. While the Russians repeat tactics from decades ago, see the Ukrainian creativity. We see the first one approaching the pipeline. The drone slowly, without unnecessary movements, flies inside. The pilot sees a defensive structure ahead. It must be destroyed. Mission accomplished. Immediately, the next drone flies inside. He also encounters an obstacle in his path. We see the drone flying deeper, closer to the Russian shelters. And then, the path is clear again. The third drone flies in and easily passes through the places where the defenses used to be and delivers the final strike. Mission accomplished. Absolutely incredible skill from the Ukrainian pilots. Stop and think about it. This didn't exist in any military manual 2 years ago. This is the modern era soldier. He has technical piloting skills combined with real-time tactical creativity. The enemies are still in the pipelines, and to block the retreat, drones destroy their vehicles. Each drone easily completes its task. One attack is enough to set the vehicles on fire. Attack after attack, they turn to ashes. Let's go back now to the Pokrovsk region. Ukrainian artillery had already opened fire on Russian tanks. Shells are falling nearby, but the column keeps moving forward. A drone then makes the first attack. The tank ends up heading straight into a shell crater. It blocks the rest of the column. While under heavy artillery fire, the soldiers abandon the useless armor. The artillery keeps attacking the immobilized targets, trying to destroy or disable them. The attack failed. The tank that caused this is destroyed by a drone. A precise strike sets it on fire. The target slowly turns into charred scrap. 2 APCs move closer to the city. They're driving on the road but enter a field before a dangerous stretch. The artillery tries to interfere. An armored personnel carrier charges into the attack at full speed. Hitting them would be extremely difficult. A Ukrainian drone flies in to intercept. Just one precise strike was enough to stop the enemy. The infantry scatters. The drones start dropping explosives. The soldiers try to shoot down the drones, but it makes no difference. The second armored personnel carrier hits a mine. The assault has completely failed. Now let's see what happened in the Kupyansk region. The Russians are there, ready to attack. The APCs make a strange choice. They decide to cross a field. On the way to their positions, a target hits a Ukrainian mine. The armored personnel carrier stops in the middle of the field. But that's not the end. The Ukrainian forces decide to use cluster munitions. Another armored personnel carrier rushes to help. And then a drone hits it precisely. The Russians drive up to the destroyed armored personnel carrier, then immediately retreat. The second drone starts to chase it and attacks. The third drone finally delivers the decisive blow. The armored personnel carrier is out of action. An attack that was, at the very least, strange. Now look at this tank. It was advancing for the attack, but for some reason it stopped right in the middle of the road. The drones take off. First attack. It's a terrible situation for the Russian tank. It's still stopped, immobilized. It's probably having engine problems. Then another attack. It looks like the tank is trying to shoot down the approaching drones with its cannon, but that's not working. The tank tries everything it can, releases smoke, tries to retreat, but it's all in vain. They decide to call for reinforcements, and then another tank arrives. The Ukrainians anticipated this and readied a drone. While the infantry moves from one tank to another, the drone manages to get close and chase them. Just one precise strike was enough to stop the target. The soldiers abandon the destroyed vehicle and scatter in all directions. A real fiasco? Now, these images you are about to see may be perhaps the most surprising. Here, this Russian armored personnel carrier is heading toward the tree line. We can see that 2 APCs and a tank destroyed by mines are already there. And here, this Russian soldier made a path for the armored personnel carrier, marking it as safe. It then confidently drives along this path. Little did they know there was a mine there. Watch again. A is in... The smoke dissipates, the infantry quickly runs toward the tree line. It's a complete failure. As you can see, the Leopard showed who's boss, not just because of its superior technology. It represents a different philosophy, preserving lives and assets while the adversary treats them as disposable. In this war, the one who adapts the fastest wins, and the Ukrainians are writing the manual for modern combat while fighting. Now I want to know your opinion. What impressed you the most in these videos we just showed? Leave your opinion in the comments. And we also want to know if you like this new video format, showing a bit of the reality on the front line. If this content was useful for you, share it with others and subscribe to the channel for more analysis on military conflicts. See you next time.